Welcome to the shift from stressful parenting to joyful parenting. We've been talking about so many things that can help your parenting cease to be stressful and become very, very joyful. Parenting is a very beautiful thing. It's something that is worth committing our time to, worth committing a lot of investment to. In fact, if we're to see any changes in the future that we want, we must really do a good job on parenting. Parenting and mothering especially, it can come with its stresses. And there's some few things that we've been talking about in this shift that can help parenting be stress-free, and especially in the area of mothering. When I think about mothering myself, having had 4 of them, there's some things that I've picked up that have really been such a good hack in terms of making parenting joyful. And today I want to talk about that thing called structure. Structure, or some people would say routine. I think if you're in a secondary school, if you've ever been through one, they would call it a timetable. But structure is a very beautiful tool. I know that sometimes in Uganda, we might not really think about ourselves as people who are structured, but yet we are actually structured. For example, you have a time that you go to work, you have a time that you leave work, you have a time that you send your children to school, and you have a time you expect them to come back from school. There are all these things that are they're fitted into time so that we can be able to accomplish them. And I found that actually structure is very helpful when it comes to mothering. When a house is unpredictable, there can be so much that can happen in that house. If every day is looking different from the previous day, it's so hard to measure progress. It's so hard to feel a sense of stability. It's so hard to even measure achievement in such an environment. But when we adapt structure into our home settings, into our spaces where we live, it actually does make a huge difference. Think about it this way. When everything is predictable, everyone knows what to do, everyone knows where everyone is, everyone knows when to expect everyone back, everyone knows who is doing what, everyone knows what they're expected to be doing, and there is a lot of fruit that we can gather together as a family. For example, if you take your day, I don't know what time your day starts, but I would typically say if your day starts at 7 o'clock, maybe you have to send the children to school, they have to be out of your house like 6 o'clock. Well, go backwards, you'll be raising like about 5 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock, they're out of the house. 7 o'clock. So think about your day in terms of the morning part, the mid-morning part, the early afternoon, the late afternoon, the evening, and then the late evening. As simple as that. If you actually think about it in those segments and try to fit in activities in each of those segments, and you actually commit yourself to being consistent to those activities, you're going to find a lot of order and a lot of enjoyment of your day. If you actually even stretch this a little bit to your children and give them a structure. For example, children who are just born, they thrive on structures. Sometimes as mothers, we're very stressed when children are just born. They're crying, they're feeding, they're showering, they're eating. Everything's to be is happening too fast at the same time. Let's think about it in terms of our children. Most of the time when we think about children, we actually think, they're just children, they cannot achieve anything. But actually, if you challenge your children and put them on a structure, you're going to find that you'll harvest a lot of order in your house. Sometimes fathers are very frustrated when they come from work and find a house that is just upside down. The toys are there, the chairs are there, everything is there, because we have simply entered a season of having children. The mother is at home, she's not sure because this child is in the other room. When they come from that room, they bring a cloth, they bring this, they bring that. So the whole entire house basically is disorganized and the mind is really stressed out. And you almost feel like home is the last place I want to be because of the unpredictability. You can overcome that by introducing a nature of a structure into your household. As a mom, this has really, really helped me. Trying to juggle the 3 of them. Each one of them is their own edge. And because they're on their own edge, everyone has their own structure. And I have my structure that helps all of them to fit into my structure. Now, the thing about structure, though, is that the structure must work for you, not imprison you. So what the structure actually does is that, do you know that time in the day when everyone seems like they don't know what to do and they are tilting toward you and they're asking, what should we be doing? Where should we be going? When you have a structure that is somewhere and they can see it, you remind them, so let's go look on our structure over there. What are we supposed to be doing? And then you redirect the energy. Like I said, you could decide that from 7 to 8, we're sitting down to eat breakfast. From 8 to this time, the children are going to be playing. From this time to this time, the children will be helping to wash the dishes. From this time to this time, we'll play a game with the children. From this time to this time, they'll watch TV. From this time to this time, they maybe visit a neighbor. But try to fit in the activities that you have as a family, the activities that are identical to your family. Fit them in there and commit yourself to being consistent, that you do the same thing every day, every day. It takes 3 weeks to form a new habit. So take your 21 days and draw out your structure according to the segments we have talked about. The early morning, the late morning, the early afternoon, the late afternoon, the evening, and the late evening. Try and fit in those few activities and try to be committed to them each and every day. What is child number 1 doing at this time? What is child number 2 doing at this time? What is mom doing at that time? You're actually going to find out that you can harvest a lot of free time as a mom. Even if it was 2 hours or even 1 hour, believe me, it helps with your mental health. It helps with your stability at home. It helps with you taking care of yourself. It helps with you continuing with your other relationships outside your home. Sometimes when we become mothers, we also do so poorly when it comes to relationships. But when you bring the tool of the structure inside your home and inside yourself, you actually gift yourself some free time. You gift yourself your friends. You can be able to visit your friends and know that in this time, this child is taking a nap. Maybe the youngest, they're taking a nap of 3 hours, and those 3 hours are out. You can go shopping. You can go visit a friend. You can catch up on WhatsApp. You can send a message to wherever you need to send a message, or even run a transaction, whatever it is. What structure does is makes your life predictable. It makes everyone's life predictable and organized. And it helps you to measure progress. It helps you It helps you to relate with the members of your family much better, because sometimes there's a tendency as parents where you feel like, I'm relating to this child much more than this one. But the simple thing of saying, on Wednesday I take off these many minutes with this child, and on this day I take off these many minutes with this child, it's actually very helpful. Even the children know that when this day comes, I have my slot with mom, I have my slot with dad at this time, and they're able to keep their conversations and give them to you at that time. So have some time for family time, dinner time, breakfast time. Let these times be common in your home, in a home. I'm assuming there's some things that happen every day in a home, such as eating food, either supper or lunch or breakfast. There's a meal somehow that happens and everyone is there. If it's not there, try to make sure that you do a meal together as a family. And it's there. There's a time and a day that is expected. There's a time to go out and visit. There's a time to go to bed. This is the time the children go to bed. And as a mother, at 8 o'clock, the children are done. Everyone is in their bed, and I have time to myself and to my husband. And that's another advantage, that when you have predictability in your home, even your marriage is healthier, because you know that at this time we'll finish to take care of the children. This is time to ourselves. This is a time we step out of our home and maybe go out on a date or something like that. So with my many words, what I'm actually trying to say is that as a mom, the tool of structure can be very helpful to bringing order, to bringing peace in your home, to bringing predictability in your home, and actually growth. You start to sense like together as a family, you're growing, you're working towards something, and you're actually working toward it together as a family. So yes, consider structure to come into your home and experience some peace and order. Again, the shift from stressful parenting to joyful parenting. Please feel free to ask any questions. Feel free to leave any comment. If you have done this before and it's helpful, it would be nice of you to let us know how helpful it was, so that other people can also know and be able to adapt the same thing. I think that we can be able to enjoy our parenting. Thank you so much.